When the government wants to bury a story, they release the news on a Friday. When they really want to bury a story, they release it during a holiday weekend when the vast majority of Americans are focused on anything other than the news. The Department of Homeland Security quietly issued terrifying Al-Qaeda alert that Al-Qaeda is planning another plane attack with new techniques and tactics. DHS decided to drop this bombshell release about an upcoming terrorist attack on Saturday, New Year's Eve. One would think corporate media would have picked up on this story the same day. As of the recording of this show, a week later since the release, and nobody's talking about it. Now, I understand that the brouhaha happening in Congress was dominating the news. But to avoid such an important story affecting our airline travel is shocking. According to the intelligence, Al-Qaeda is actively recruiting new suicide bombers to use airplanes in attacks on the United States that are similar to what took place on September 11, 2001. They will use different strategies and tactics, according to the memo from DHS. Meanwhile, federal air marshals who should be in the air prepared to stop such a terrorist attacks are busy trying to help process illegal aliens at Joe Biden's open border. Even though this was an internal memo, they knew with certainty, because of the vastness of the drop, that it would be leaked to the press. As of today, no corporate media outlet in the United States has reported on it. While the nation's federal air marshals, FAM, are busy on the Mexican border providing illegal immigrants with welfare checks, transportation, and other basic services, Al-Qaeda is planning attacks in the U.S. involving planes. The threat could not come at a worse time, as the Biden administration leaves aircraft at risk by sending 150 to 200 federal air marshals monthly to the southern border to help deal with what it calls a surge in irregular migration. The deployment will continue indefinitely, according to multiple federal air marshal sources, and the specially trained aviation security specialists are outraged. The agency works under the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, which was created after 9/11 to prevent another terrorist attack. Federal air marshals, FAM, is charged with protecting commercial passenger flights by deterring and countering the risk of terrorist activity. Nevertheless, the Biden administration is deploying the highly trained law enforcement officers to busy Border Patrol sectors to help with hospital watch, transportation, security, and welfare checks. Days later, the Air Marshal National Council, which represents thousands of federal air marshals nationwide, accused TSA Administrator David Pekoske and FAM Director Terrell Stevenson of violating federal law and overstepping their authority by assigning air marshals to assist the U.S. Border Patrol with illegal immigration crisis. In a formal complaint to DHS Inspector General, the group also accused the Homeland Security leaders of fraud, waste, and abuse of authority. Sending air marshals to El Paso, Texas, San Diego, California, Laredo, Texas, McAllen, Texas, Tucson, Arizona, and Yuma, Arizona, to transport illegal immigrants and conduct welfare checks has no relations to TSA's core mission of transportation security. The statute does not give the administrator any authority to deploy TSA or federal air marshal employees to the southern border to perform non-transportation security-related matters. Further, under Section G, the statute describes what the administrator's authority is. If an emergency, as defined by the Secretary of Homeland Security, is declared, the legislative intent is to only allow TSA to exercise authority and deploy its assets for transportation security. Hours after learning about the latest Al-Qaeda threat, the Air Marshal National Council fired off a letter to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, as well as Pekoske and Stevenson, reminding them that deploying federal air marshals to the southern border to perform humanitarian work is reckless and putting the nation at extreme risk. We have to ask, How can you justify sending federal air marshals to the border in huge numbers when the border is, in their own words, secure and there is no emergency? Yet we have major security incidents happening right now affecting our aviation security. Federal air marshals are still being pulled off flights at a rate of about 200 air marshals a month to serve illegal immigrants at stations along the Mexican border. The redeployment of air marshals to the southern border is insane, considering the latest aviation threat from Al-Qaeda. Either they don't care about aviation security or they really think it is secure. Let's hope corporate media can break away from touting Vladimir Zelensky or lamenting Nancy Pelosi's exit from Congress long enough to warn Americans that radical Islamic terrorists may be ready to strike our nation again. We created an Act Now campaign directed at our members of Congress, urging them to immediately call federal air marshals back from the southern border to secure commercial airlines. Please go to actforamerica.org and click on Act Now National, where you will see the campaign. We have an email prepared for you to send to your elected officials. We have a petition you can sign, posts prepared for your social media, which you can share with one click with your friends. You can also call your elected officials if you wish. We provide you with their phone numbers so you can call them. Please take action today and share it with all your friends.
Folks, it's never been easier to take action from your phone or computer, literally in your pajamas. You can make a difference. You know, a lot of you have been asking, what can I do in light of all the news happening? Well, you can take action with Act for America right now. Go to actforamerica.org. And of course, you see at the bottom of your screen, you can engage with us at any time and stand with us at Act for America. Brigitte, why is the mainstream media not reporting this right now?
The mainstream media is covering up for Biden. They do not want to talk about it. They think it is Islamophobic. Would you believe it? We sent an action alert to our members who are signed up to get our emails this week immediately about the story, before we did the show. And one of our members sent it to their elected official, and some lefty elected official, some senator from Detroit, from Michigan, said, oh, this is so Islamophobic, you're talking about this. The country is so divided. But it is so important to let your elected officials hear from you. Look, if this last brouhaha in Congress with the election of the Speaker of the House was any indication, your elected officials listen to you. And when the American public speaks up, their elected officials listen to them. And if we learned anything from this exercise in Congress with the election of the Speaker, was when the American people speak up, we bring about change, good change. Democracy is about robust debate. Democracy is about elected officials working with their constituents and debating ideas and listening, and may the strongest voice be heard. And right now, we, the American people, need to make sure that our elected officials who represent us in Congress are hearing our voices so they can do the right thing. We want to make sure that they understand that we are concerned about our aviation system. We do not want a repeat of 9/11. And when the Department of Homeland Security issues an imminent threat from Al-Qaeda, a serious threat with such detail, the fact that our government doesn't want to talk about it, at least, the White House not mentioning anything about it, the media is not mentioning anything about it, it is shocking and it is unacceptable. So please, those of you who are watching right now, please take action. Your voice matters.
It's never mattered more than it has right now, folks. You know what? Your voice does matter. And we've already heard from politicians before, Brigitte, when people have seen our broadcast, they've taken action, they sign up for the action alerts, they've contacted their elected representatives. You are making a difference, folks. We are doing this. And your voice, of course, does matter. Now, some of you are coming to the realization that not all the places you spend your money with are for America or for you. That's why it's so important, folks, to take advantage of the tax deduction you get. We don't have a Soros or the Chinese, the CCP behind us, or other dark players behind the shadows that are funding this organization. It's you, red-blooded Americans, and we're so happy that the word is getting out about news you can act on. There's a lot of momentum building. This is going to be a very crucial year.
Exactly. It's important to be engaged. It's important to sign up to receive our emails. As I mentioned, we broke the story first immediately on December 3rd when everybody came back to work, and we said, look, this is what just came out over New Year's weekend. We sent it to our 1.7 million members. We shared it on our social media. We prepared the action alert. So if you're signed up to our emails, they are free. It doesn't cost you anything. We want to make sure we can reach you when there's an important action alert we want you to take action on. Go to actforamerica.org, sign up to get our emails, actforamerica.org. And so you can share our emails with your friends, so you can share our action alerts with your friends. You know, this is the year of empowerment. This is the year of taking back the power from those who are in control in the swamp and bringing it back to the American people. And our job, because we are not beholden to anybody, this is the wonderful thing, Brent. We don't receive any grants from the federal government. We don't receive any donations from big government agencies. We are beholden to nobody but the American people. We are beholden to each other as Americans. We want accountability in Congress. We want transparency in Congress. We want to make sure our government is transparent with us. We want to make sure that we understand what's happening in our country and that our elected officials are doing the right thing by us and by our country. And that means putting the interest of the American public first and putting the interest of our country first. And that's what we need. So this is what we are all about. We want to make sure we empower you with the information that we share with you. This show is called News You Can Act On. We're just not giving you the news. We're telling you what you can do with the news. Because I know a lot of you hear the news and they get so frustrated. Look, if you're sitting in my household with me and my husband watching television, many times he just wants to take his shoe off and throw it at the screen. But you know what? That doesn't change anything. You can be as frustrated as you want. Unless you take action, nothing happens. And so we're making it so easy for you. We tell you the stories and we tell you what you can do about it. And 9/11, a repeat of a 9/11 is unthinkable. And you know, Brent, especially right now in our country, look, our country is so divided. Our country is so weak because of all the billions that we have lost, trillions we are in debt with all the money that we are sending to Ukraine. Can you imagine what another terrorist attack will do to the United States? It will break us. So we need to make sure our elected officials do everything that they can to hold our government accountable, to make sure that the money we are giving them in taxes for the TSA to protect us and for the air marshals to protect us, we want to make sure that that money is going to protect our airlines, not to go work as Uber drivers for people who are breaking the law to come into our country.
You know, Brigitte, as you were saying earlier, 150 to 200 air marshals being assigned to the border at a time where there's a major warning of new attacks and new kinds of attacks by Al-Qaeda. Folks, you know what? This show not only will inform you, in some cases, it can help save your life to know what is going on. Because as we said many times before, Brigitte, there's people who watch things happen. There's people who ask what happened, but there's people who make things happen, and you make things happen. Act for America never sleeps 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, folks. You need to stand with those who stand for you. But I find it amazing, Brigitte, again, that at a time where there's never been a more danger to the American people, that this is not being spoken about by the mainstream media. That's why it's so important. That's why it's so important, folks, that you need to keep up with the news alerts on actforamerica.org. A lot of actions have been taken. Go there right now, actforamerica.org. Sign up for the news alerts. There's a lot of issues at play right now that are being talked about in Congress. But I find it interesting, Brigitte, that when there's a new danger, there's always a new theater at play with the media. They're very selective with what they choose to focus on.
Very selective. And you know what? Even with the big brouhaha that was happening in Congress this last week, with the speaker election, they find time to talk about the weather, climate change, crime, the border, COVID shots, all of that stuff. But they didn't find time to tell people about an imminent warning coming from DHS about Al-Qaeda wanting to use airplanes again to attack the United States. It's unthinkable to me. It's unconscionable to me that they would not do that. But then again, the mainstream media is not reporting the facts. And that's where we come in. That's why we are on the air to tell you these stories. And by the way, Brent, I would love you, our listeners, you are watching us right now. Please drop me an email and let me know if you heard about the story on any of ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News. If you heard about the story anywhere else other than this show, please drop me an email. Go to info@actforamerica.org, info@actforamerica.org, and let me know if you heard about the story anywhere else. Also, let me know about your opinion of the show. Send me your ideas. Let's say, I watched your show, Brigitte, on the air. I would love to know. I would want you to cover this story, or I want you to cover that story. We would love to hear from you, especially now in the beginning of 2023. We want to hear from you about what shows you are interested in, what topics you want us to cover. What is your main interest? We want to serve you. We want to provide you with information that you care about. We want to provide you with action alerts that you are really concerned about. We want to mobilize you. You are going to love this show. Please tell your friends all about it. Tell your family about actforamerica.org and sign up to get our emails and action alerts, because we are about strengthening you, the American public, so together we can stand shoulder to shoulder in securing our country. And the wonderful thing about the internet, Brent, the internet is a curse and a blessing at the same time. It's a curse when it is bad, but it is such a blessing in times exactly like this, because we can come together as millions across this country who are united with our values, who are united by our philosophy about our country and our heritage and our love for America, who happen to come together because television brought us together as well as the internet, and we can stand shoulder to shoulder virtually, millions at a time, and hold our elected officials responsible and accountable to us, the American people. This is the wonderful thing about technology in 2023. We can use technology to our own advantage. We can use technology to protect our country. We can use technology to empower each other. You could be watching me right now in California or in Wyoming or in Florida or in Maine, but yet we are together as one at the same time, at the same moment, taking action at the same time, on the same action alerts, speaking with the same words directed towards elected officials. People tell me all the time, the left sings off the same sheet of music. They repeat the same words, they repeat the same slogan, they all talk the same way. Well, we are making it easy on you that we, the conservatives on the right, can sing off the same sheet of music called Act for America. The same email that we sent to elected official is the exact same language written by over 1 million people. Can you imagine the impact of that? Can you imagine? And we make it so easy for you. You don't even have to think about what to say. We write it for you so you can send it to them. That's the power of one. That's the power of many ones coming together and making a difference.
Well, Brigitte, you know what? One of the reasons why people love you, many reasons why, is, you're very informative. You are a true journalist. I mean, you were a world news anchor at the age of 20, and that is reflected on Act for America website and the relevancy of all the action alerts that Act for America stays on top of. For example, I'm there right now, folks. Go there, actforamerica.org. You're going to see the latest news about demanding the release of information from Jeffrey Epstein, folks. Things like that have been swept under the carpet. There's, stop airline suicide bomber threat, even down to The View, the horrible, anti-American, many would say, comments made on The View in regards to Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg's anti-Semitism. So we cover a lot of issues, a lot of relevant issue. Our main focus is security, freedom, and values. We are fighting to protect our culture. We are fighting to protect our security, make sure we are safe. We are fighting to protect our Constitution and our freedom and everything we stand for. So we cover issues and send action alerts on all these things. We want Jeffrey Epstein's list. We want all the clients. We want all the people released. We want to know who they are. Why are we sweeping things under the carpet? So we have many issues that we cover. That's why it is so important that you sign up to get our emails and action alerts, because together we can bring back accountability into our government. Together, we can bring back transparency to our government. Together, we can bring back courage to those who don't have a backbone, our elected officials who don't have a spine. We can help them stand the spine and start speaking up. And look, it does make a difference. It does make a difference. And what we saw last week in Congress was the perfect example as to when people contact their elected officials and say, stand up, do not back down, until we do not want government spending, we want transparency, we want to make sure, you know, all the requests are met. It makes our government better. And that's why this last week with the Freedom Caucus, with everything that they were doing, our government is better for it. And it was because of the engagement of a lot of people making their voice heard.
Who can you trust? Well, you can trust Brigitte Gabriel, and you can trust Act for America. When you go there right now, actforamerica.org today.
Yes, and we make it so easy. When you go on our website, you can see Act Now. You click on it, it says Act Now National, Act Now State, because we notify you about bills coming down for a vote on the state level as well as the federal level. We even have a bar moving on our website that shows you what's trending, the action alerts that are trending. And look, we don't bombard you with emails. We send 3 emails a week. One of them is about 3 things you can do under 10 minutes that will make a difference for the country. We send that every Thursday. It's called 3 in 10. We empower you to take action on things that matter. You know, you receive emails from your friends about jokes. Oh, you've got to listen to this joke. Oh, you've got to read this story. Well, we send you short emails about things you can do that will make a difference for our country. And we appreciate your engagement and we appreciate your patriotism. I am so excited about 2023 and all the amazing things we're going to be able to get done together.
The darkness never sleeps. It is time to come together and to stand against the darkness. And speaking about the light, many of you are faith-based people. We're seeing an increase of conservatives who are also returning to their spiritual roots. You know what? There's things for churches too, Brigitte. Act for America can also approach churches and provide you with information how you can make your congregations more aware of this onslaught of darkness against light.
Exactly. We have our Act in Faith project. If you are watching this right now and you are a member of a church, sign up to lead a group in your church. We will train you. We will mentor you. We will provide you information that you can share with your church members. You can start a group just as much as there are Bible study groups. You can start an Act in Faith group in your church where you can take action and you can inform your church about events happening in Congress, about things that they can take action on, about bills coming down for a vote on your state level and the federal level. Be an instruments of change. God doesn't change the world through lightning in the sky. God uses his people as his instruments of change. I'm speaking to you right now, if God put it on your heart to say, you know what? I need to serve. I need to serve in a better way. I need to serve in a different way. I need to change the way I'm serving. If that's what you're hearing right now, if God is talking to you right now, please go to actforamerica.org and click on Get Involved. And you can see how you can start a chapter. And please let us know if you are a member of a church. We would love to work with you and mentor you. We have special training for people in churches. We want to mobilize the body of Christ. We want to empower the body of Christ. We want people engaged on the local level to make a difference. And what better way than people who come together once a week in their houses of worship to not only pray for our country, but to also make a difference for our country. So go to actforamerica.org, click on Get Involved, and we will take it from there and we will help you in every way we can.
You know, Brigitte, you're not afraid to speak the truth. You're not afraid to speak the language of people of faith and people who don't necessarily have a faith, but they love their country and they love their families, you know. And last thing that I'll say today about those of faith, you know, even the Bible, you know, the Apostle Paul said that the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but it's a matter of action. And,
That's
you know,
right.
the right, you know, has always enjoyed doing conventions and sharing memes and posting and reposting tweets now that we're allowed to speak our mind
That's
as
right.
well.
That we're allowed now. That's right.
But, you know, Brigitte, as you said many times before, you know, that, and we've also illustrated this as well. What happens the day after a convention? Many times, absolutely nothing, folks.
Nothing. People go home, they are on a high, they are so excited. Oh my gosh, we had a great time. We had a blast. They go home and they don't know what to do. They're informed. They've got more information. They're certainly more educated than the week before because they heard great speakers, but they do not know what to do. Well, we not only share information with you, like what we just shared about the Al-Qaeda threat, but we also give you something meaningful and impactful that you can do and effective you can do. You know, effective is my favorite word in the English language. Effective. Because, you know, in the Arabic language, my mother tongue, you know, we don't have a word effective. Effective is a great word, because if you're not effective, it doesn't matter if you were entertained. It doesn't matter if you had a good time. You need to be effective in your activism. And that's why we named the organization Act for America. Not think about America, hope for America, wish for America, or pray for America. You can do all that, and you should. But without taking action, nothing changes. You can hope for our country. You should hope for our country. You should pray for our country. You should think about our country. You should be concerned about our country. But without taking action for our country that will preserve our freedom, that will preserve our values, that will preserve our heritage, that will preserve America in the way we got it from our parents to the way we're going to hand it to our children and grandchildren. If you don't take action, nothing else matters. That's not going to change. Act for America. If this message resonates with you, please go to actforamerica.org and join us. Stand with us in every way. Sign up to receive our emails and action alerts. Share our information with your friends. If you are able to stand with us financially, I would be so grateful for your support at whatever level. $5 a week, $20 a month, $100 a month. Look, if you are, you know, mega wealthy and you have a foundation, we are a nonprofit. We are a 501c3 organization. Your donation is tax deductible. Please write us a big fat check from your foundation. We will put it to good use. I promise you. You know, we want to make a difference for the country. That's where our heart is. We pray for America, but we also want to take action for America. We want to be the instruments of change for our country. I want to be the tool that is used to change our country. And I hope that you feel the same way about being used in a meaningful way to make an impact for our country, to make an impact for those we love, to make an impact for our community, to make an impact for our nation, to make an impact in honor of the legacy of our founding fathers and all the sacrifices that they made to give us the incredible country we have today. America will not fall under our watch. America will not break under our watch. America will not be weakened under our watch. Not until our last breath we will go down fighting democratically, peacefully, using every technology tool at our disposal where we can make a difference.
Brigitte, as always, you're incredibly inspiring. And folks, those who love America, it's time to come together. Another fantastic show, news you can act on with none other than Brigitte Gabriel. God bless you, folks.
God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Till next time.